Now, Mick, thanks for your time.
Robbie, my pleasure.
You know what? Life is just not fair sometimes. We lose a ripping fella in Dean Bailey today, Mick.
All too short. I lost my wife's brother at 37 with 3 young kids, so it's sort of, it does keep you very much appreciative of good health. And what you do is, that happened some time ago, and I've seen those kids develop and grow, his kids that were, and you think, you know, they've lost their father, and that you can't replace that. And you know, when we see kids lose their mother, and you can't replace that. So you've just got to be so thankful that you've got good health and a good family. And you know, I suspect that nearly every football person who's been in the game and understands the pressures, you just wonder about those pressures that were placed on him, how much to the detriment that was to his health. So it's a great lesson for us just to make sure we are very, very aware of good health and good families.
Well, and it does test your own mortality. It's the first thing you do with these sort of things. Mick, as a coach or a player, have you ever had to deal with tragedy at a footy club, and how does it impact on such tight-knit groups that are football people and clubs?
Yeah. Look, I've been in the game long enough to know that there's been a lot of people. When the inevitability of life is the fact that it's going to finish, and but sometimes it's taken away very, very quickly and very, very young. I couldn't go through all the ones that have passed, but like of recent date, we're at Arizona training camp, and one of our last days, probably our 3rd or 4th last day, and I got a team manager said to me that I need to talk to you urgently. And we went across, and I saw young Sam Doherty, who we just recruited. And I looked at his face, and I knew there's something wrong. His father had died in Victoria, but his mother, they couldn't track his mother down. Yet there's a girlfriend ringing him to say that his father had died. Does he know where his mother is? Well, the sad circumstances was that his mother was at her sister's place, moving furniture into a new unit because her sister had lost her husband the previous few months. And I looked at that kid, and you know, the boys, the way they rallied, you know, it was quite an occasion for us to unite, understand a little bit more about life, and I just saw players lean on him or go to him so that he can lean on them because they'd been through a few similar circumstances. So I think anyone in football, we are only a cross-section of the community. There's no right that we've got as footballers to say that we will live longer or happier or without incident in our lives. So this is just another, I guess it's another lesson in life that it can finish very, very quickly, and you've got to make the most of it.
What sort of a challenge for a footy club, Mick, to recover from that and deal with it, I guess, at the same time, tactfully?
As in Dean, well, I think in that sort of situation, it's probably been known for some time that he was in a lot of trouble. I think that, you know, the whole football world knew, and inevitability was it was going to be when. And I suppose when he went home, it was going to be, well, this must be very, very close. So I suppose people were getting ready for it, not used to it, getting ready for it. It's always, no matter how ready you are. I lost my parents not recently now, you know, it's 5 or 6 years ago, and it's sort of, I knew they were going to die. But when it happens, you realise that a massive part of your life goes. The ones I feel sorry for, you can't feel sorry for Dean anymore. He's gone. But I feel sorry for his wife and his two boys. No. They're the ones that are going to have. They're not going to have a father. They're not going to have a husband. She's not going to have a husband. They're the ones that are going to be needing great support. And I think one single thing about any sporting body, I was going to say football, I think I'm wrong in saying this. I think sporting bodies, it brings the opposition and people together. And it makes you more appreciative of one another. Doesn't mean that you go soft once you cross the white line or get into the basketball court or netball court or whatever the case is, but you are far more sympathetic to what's taken place, and it really does unite the people of that particular game. And you guys know yourself that in any little country town, if someone is less fortunate, there is generally a rallying point, and you know then little towns around the area also rally. So it's, look, from bad, there's sometimes a lot of good. Yeah. And, you know, let's hope that is the case.
Yeah, well said. We'll move on. Footy's around the corner. Well, round 1 AFL starts this Friday, for you Sunday. This time of year for a coach in planning, what can go wrong, or more so, what needs to go right for this round one game, and how important are they to set your season up, Mick? Just paint a picture from an AFL coach's perspective.
Yeah, I haven't done any arithmetic on this, but I reckon I've won a lot of the first rounders because your preparation is so vast and so long. But I know I've lost first rounders. I make no mistake about it. I lost the first 3 rounds last year. There's one thing that you have to get your head around. You're never ready. You'd like to say, "Oh, look, give me another week. Look, okay. I'd like Chris Judd to be ready, right?" Yep. But I know he's not going to be ready. But when he's ready, there is likely someone else that may not be ready. So you've just got to take your lot and go, right, this is what's been dealt. We know we haven't got him, but we've got him. We know we're a little bit short in practice on this guy, but we'll get through on this guy. I just think that sometimes you get a little bit too caught up in who's not playing. But what you got to do is you got to say who is available and who is playing. It's like count the ones you've got, not the ones you haven't got, and then do the best you can with the ones you've got. Because it's great to win early games. I've been part of sides when you haven't, and we've made finals and done okay. I've been part of a squad that won 12 in a row, first 12 games, and lost the grand final. So, you'd give up 6 of those games to win the grand final. But I remember when I first took over Collingwood. I mentioned this yesterday. I did some lectures for Latrobe yesterday, and I was talking about leadership. And honestly, I thought I was walking on water the first 5 games. The club had finished bottom. I took over. We won the first 5. Then I knew I was walking underwater because we lost the next 9. What a turnaround, though. Yeah, welcome to Collingwood and welcome to the bottom side. And so what it does, it's a great leveller. And if you're big enough and strong enough and ugly enough in many respects to say, look, you're going to have some good times, you have some bad times. The greatest coaches, the longest serving coaches, don't win every game. They have some losing seasons. They lose finals. They don't make finals. They can have some problems. It's a great test of character. And I always look at it that it's a building block for your life more than anything else, the opening of the season, because there's going to be 8 winners or 9 winners. There's going to be 9 losers. The press will come down hard on the losers. You're pumped up as a winner. You know what? It's only 1 week old. And that's what you've got to get over.
Mick, over here in SA, Malcolm Blight conditioned us to the fact that the season started in round 2, doesn't start in round 1, it starts in round 2. Are you a believer that the first round doesn't really count for much, or...?
I wish we were playing Adelaide at the time, then.
You probably did.
Well, I would have loved it. I wish you had a problem with that. I would have asked the AFL for a special draw to get Adelaide.
You only had to call me.
Blighty is a bit different.
Yeah, correct.
Hey, this time of year, Mick, with injuries, Crows have got 7 first-choice players out. Port around 4. Carlton, you got Judd and a couple of others.
Hang on, man. Look, you give me nothing. You've given me nothing there. You've just said around 4. Who are they and what are they?
For Port Adelaide?
Come on.
Oh, well, Schulz is up and down, but he'll play. Trengove is up and down, but he'll play. Carlisle may not, but he'll play. But I know what you're doing, Mick. You're playing Port. And as much as we love you, our allegiance will be with Port over Carlton, make no mistake. But this time of year... I think I saw a stat. The amount of stars that are out for this round 1 game is incredible. I'm just wondering whether pre-season you need to tweak it, do something different, not put as much pressure on them and hit round 1 fresh rather than with so many injuries. I think something's going to have to break or change, Mick.
I can spend a whole hour with you on this. I'm very much a coach's person. I'm very much a player's person. But I just think that the silliness that we've accepted with the players having so much off that we try to scramble everything into a very, very tight corridor of getting preparation. We had 19 players have post-season operations last year, and since that we've had 3 that have had operations. And that's since that. That's after they've come back. Now, were they missed? No, they weren't. We thought a good 10 weeks had easily cleared up the problems, but the 3 persisted and they've had to have operations. But I think that if you went back through those players, I think you'd find there's a lot of players that have been in the game for a long time and just haven't quite got over it. You look at a lot of young players that have come in. I don't think that it would probably count the young players in their first year because so many of those are injured when they get to the football club. You end up getting to about March before you've actually got them on the field in any sort of capacity to play games. We're a bit of a victim of our own, I think, silliness that we all adopt the same principle. We want to get ready by March. Every practice matches When you start having 150, 160 tackles between the two sides in early March for practice matches, it tells you a lot about the intensity of players that haven't played since September or August last year. And then you've got to look at how many games you need to play. And look, there's some players need 3, some need 1. There's others that you could probably say, look, if they've had a good lead up, they don't need to play. Why, just protect them. But it's a very individual sort of system. But nonetheless, what you said is not uncommon in modern football to have a lot of good footballers sitting in the grandstand round one, outside of the suspensions and so forth. So we have to live with that. Look, you've got to use it as a positive as well. Sometimes there's going to be a door open for a young kid to jump in and play a few games before his time, but it does him the world of good. I played a couple of kids on the weekend. They've jumped up and now into contention for the game, and I'm delighted to say that because I had no intention of really playing any more than one. Now I've got 2 or 3 that are really pushing for selection.
Ever going to see a day, Mick, where we just don't play inter-club trials in the lead-up to the season, or is that stretching it too far?
I think that unless you're told you can't, I suspect that everyone's going to find a reason to play a practice match.
Okay.
Good, bad or indifferent, I suspect that we just haven't got the intestinal fortitude to allow ourselves the luxury of going, okay, let's open up with the way we open up.
Yeah,
so I join in with that. If someone said to me, the AFL said, listen, you can't have any practice matches and you can't even train against one another, which constitutes practice.
Yeah,
I would live with that. Yeah, I would live with that because that's such an unknown for the supporters. They go there now not knowing exactly, and we don't know exactly, so we're basing it all on training. I don't know whether it'd be right because I think it'd put the body too much at risk, but I would join in only because everyone would be part of it. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I think it's probably not practical with 22 and 2 or 21 and 1.
Yep.
Because I think it'd put too much put a strain on the body.
You couldn't replicate it as a coach with your playing group. You don't reckon you could ever get the stage where you could almost replicate that intensity?
Well, if you had internal practice match, you'd have to. You'd have to hammer home that quite severely, I would say, going in round one. Yep, you'd have to do that. But that's, teammates that have been around for a long time playing together, they're not going to hurt each other, so they don't really tackle hard, they don't chase hard, and they get by on their natural instinct, really.
Hey, the AFL season launch was at Adelaide Oval last week. How impressed were you with the Oval and facilities? Did you think it was good? Yeah, how good's it going to be?
I'm really delighted that there's a space at the end of the ground for there was grass there, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Was there grass?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, I went out there and had a look at the cricket being played. I just think it's just unique. I really do think it's just first class. The room we're in for a start-off was outstanding. You're right over the game. There couldn't be anyone that wouldn't say, I've got a great view of the game, because you seem to be, wherever you are, you've got the ground in front of you. And you're going to be able to see, with the higher up you are, you're really going to be able to see the game developing in strategy. So, for those that get a late ticket, don't be disappointed. Have a look at the strategies that perform in front of you. I think it's just fantastic. And so close to the city. I love it. Love it.
And you've got Port round 22 at Adelaide Oval, but you got them this Sunday, Mick. Are you bullish? You ready?
I would say that this hasn't been a game I can't think of a game that I've ever gone in and thought we're going to get beaten. You've got to have that positivity about you. You're going to lose probably half of them, but at the end of the day, if you can't show a positivity, how can you expect your players to be, enthralled in getting to that ground for the first time? It's a wonderful occasion, round one, because it throws up. I would be very surprised anyone's going to pick 8 winners. It always throws up some really strange results. So it's just fantastic.
How heavily have you scouted Port, Mick, over the pre-season? Did you drill down on them on what they've done this year, or do you look back at last year and see what they did last year?
Both, but we're very mindful that round one is round one and round two is only a week later.
Yep.
So we do scout 4 to 6 sides in front of us.
Okay.
And you also have a look at sides around you. Yeah, well, you really have to have a little bit of an idea of how they're performing. And you talk about injuries just to see how, if you get someone who comes in without playing, you want to know why, and can you exploit that? So no, it's quite common, I think, that you do a lot of homework on your opposition.
Why did the AFL take the Carlton Richmond round 1 season opener off you?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? That was a 4 or 5 year tradition, I thought.
Yeah, it was. It was, and I know last year we had Well, we played them in the final last year.
Couldn't get on the deck.
90-odd thousand, yeah, 95,000. So, look, I don't know. I really I couldn't even answer that one.
Hey, Mick, all the best. Round 1, it's upon us. We can't wait. Thanks for your time. Speak to you next Tuesday. And look, I can't say all the best of luck because obviously we're Adelaide folk, but we do wish you luck and we hope it's a good game.
I thought you were a bit more biased than that, but, I can understand where you're coming from. Good luck, and I'll talk to you blokes.
Well, hang on. What do you mean you thought I was a bit more biased than that? You didn't think that I'd want Port to beat you?
Oh, I think that you lean the other way, don't you?
Yeah, no, I'm a Crows man.
And you also bury for the Crows.
Well, no, but I'm an... that was funny.
Very good.
Was that inference what I thought that inference was? Bang.
No.
Michael Malthouse has given me a bang.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I'm just saying that I reckon that, there's 18 teams and you play in Barrack for one, so why are you so hooked up in the other one?
Well, Mick, I'm saying to you, I'm an Adelaide person first and foremost. I absolutely love the Crows. It's my club, but I would rather Port Adelaide beat Carlton this Sunday.
Because, righto, I'll take that on board.
Done. Well done, Mick. Love you.
No worries, mate.
Speak to you next Tuesday. All the best.